So, about 7 months down the line now, and how are things going? My brain still feels raw. That could be because it's not yet adjusted to the reduction. I'm likening it to scraping one's knee and the skin being extra sensitive for a time before healing over. That's what happened with previous reductions. This time it's just taking a little longer, which is to be expected. I understand. Lower reductions are harder, apparently. There's also been something else running concurrent with the reduction and interacting with it in some ways. Since I was around 25, I've been developing as a person. It's like I started off as a virtually blank canvas and built up a picture layer by layer. This didn't happen when I was younger, as it naturally ought to, so I've had to do it artificially. I have no proof of this, no brain scans showing the neural development, just my own experience. I feel more substantial now than I used to. Looking back, it seemed like I was an empty shell. You'll just have to take my word for that. This development got to such a stage that I needed to reduce the meds. They were limiting my bandwidth, making thinking a struggle. Now that I'm on the lower dose, I'm able to think more comfortably again. But there's a new problem. I'm now struggling to cope with all the thinking. It's like there's all these threads pulling me in different directions at once, and I can't concentrate on any individual one of them. Now, this could be because of the rawness, in that my brain is so sensitive due to the reduction, that it is trying to think about all the many thoughts that are happening together, and so is able to settle on none of them. Or it could be that my brain is damaged, probably from a severe head trauma I experienced when younger. So I am unable to think as most others can. Time will tell, of course. Brain damage would account for a lot of my troubles. Getting easily fatigued mentally, for example, struggling to think creatively, difficulty retaining information, concrete thinking, being unable to recognise certain thoughts as my own. For now, I'm just trying to get through the days, hoping my brain will renormalise, and I'll get past this. Excuse me. I've had to take a lot off my plate recently, though. It was doing my head in, trying to manage it all. Also, I'm finding it difficult to relax as I used to, since my mind is so on edge all the time. On the plus side, my appetite is much less. I'm much more cognizant now too, much more on the ball. That's made it easier to deal with the increased mental sensitivity. I've also lost a lot of my drive since my wife left me last November. That's added a lot of stress too, which hasn't helped, but life's complicated. I still have good days and bad days. Today, I'm out of it. I slept for just about 14 hours last night, and I wanted to do something productive, so doing this seemed like a good idea. I used to be out of it a lot because the meds were tranquilizing me. Now that the problem is mental fatigue, I still manage to do bits and pieces. I'm not stuck to the sofa, unable to move or even think. So, taking everything into account, I'd say it's positive. Not perfect, but definitely workable. Luckily, I have lots of support which helps enormously, and I do what I can to stay as stable as possible. Eat right, exercise, socialise, relax, etc. It's still a case of wading into unknown waters, though, of not knowing what the next day will hold. Med reduction isn't an exact science, after all. You just have to remember to be kind to yourself at the end of the day. Try and cling to the light when the darkness is closing in. Easier said than done, of course.